Hello and welcome to Jenkins Docker tutorial. Today we dive into a topic that's central to modern CI/CD workflow. In this session, we are going to learn and set up step by step 3 Jenkins deployment scenario. Based on my millions years of experience, these setups are commonly seen in real world DevOps. So first scenario where Jenkins is installed on Linux VM or maybe in bare metal data center or any cloud. Okay, so we will install Jenkins on VM on Linux-based operating system. Then we will set up and configure Docker-based dynamic agent. So here the dynamic agent, it means the container will spin up automatically on demand. The container will be spin up, the container will perform its job, and after that container will go away after that. So this is a hybrid setup where the controller runs on a traditional VM, like I said, but agents are spun up or agents are as a container. Next, we will see or we will extend the use case where we will install Jenkins in a Docker container and we will set up an agent outside it. So in this setup, Jenkins will be a containerized controller setup and the leverage external VMs as an agent. Then third scenario, that would be fully containerized Jenkins, both controller as well as the agents. Okay, running in Docker environment. This is a popular choice for cloud native environments, and by the end of this tutorial, you will have a clear understanding of which setup best fits your infrastructure and automation goals. We are almost ready to go ahead and see, but before that, I would like to mention these are our social media handles. We'd love to stay in touch with you, and here especially the GitHub. All the steps which I'm gonna do, you will find everything in this our GitHub homepage. And here, if you go on this Jenkins repository, and you will find here one folder, Jenkins Docker, and inside that I will put all the steps if you want to follow along. So let's go ahead. So we are ready, and let's get started with the first scenario. All right, so let's first install the Jenkins, and for that there are multiple options in Day-4 part 1. We already saw how we can use the Jenkins official document, but for this I have created a script and we are going to use that. So let's quickly check jenkins.sh. This is already available in a GitHub repository if you want to use this. So I have created this because you can remove as well as reinstall again and again just for the practice. So this script, what basically it does, when we run, it will provide us a two choice, install and remove. So when we ask for the installation, so it go ahead and update the system, install JDK, right, and add the Jenkins repository over here, these two steps, and after that it install the Jenkins. It also start the service and it gives us the Jenkins service status. Similarly, for remove instructions are also mentioned over here. So let's go ahead and run this. So as I said, if you want to dig more into step by step, go ahead and refer the Day-4 part 1 video. All right, so we want to install. Let's give the password and let's start. All right, so Jenkins is up and running. Let's go ahead. This is the password. Okay, you can also find it over here, and that's what we need. And then we can access the Jenkins on port 8080. So let's go ahead and do that. So for that, Jenkins 3.local. So what I missed the port number 8080. All right. So how I'm accessing this on this jenkins.dsoc3.local. So there is a file slash etc host. In that I have put the IP address of the VM, and in front of that I just give it a name. Okay, and so now let's pass the password and go ahead and see further. So again, it's your choice. I'm gonna go with this one. I don't want any plugin, except we are going to use some of the plugins from the pipeline. So this one I need, and I also need graph view, and another one is Git. Okay, all right, so this many plugins are enough. If you want to change the theme, so you could also select it over here, but I'm not selecting it at the moment. That's fine. Let's give it a time to install, to finish the configuration. Okay, we have to create a user. If you don't want to configure a user for time being, so you could skip it and continue with the initial admin password. But I'm gonna go ahead and create the user. Password is password. Full name is free. Is free at the rate. Copy from here. All right, let's save the configuration. And this is automatically detected from here, browser. All right, start using the Jenkins. So very first thing here, what we are going to do, let's create our very first job. Let's give it a name, environment test. All right, so let's come over here, and we will use simple predefined pipeline. And here, if you see, so we have already learned in day 5 all this pipeline syntax, everything in very detail. But I will explain everything as we go and move forward. But if you know the drill, if you want, you could refer that if you want to learn more. So here simply what we will do, instead of, let's give it a name, VM build. All right, and here we will execute some of the commands. Let's say Java dash dash version, right, and pwd, we could say echo. Let's keep it here, echo, and what we want to echo, building VM app. Just it's a message, it will be printed on the screen. Okay, so we are done. Let's apply, save, and build now. So our build is successful. Okay, and we are using this one. So there is no big deal. It's a simple, very simple job, right? What we want to configure the Jenkins agent as a Docker container. So our Jenkins is installed already on the VM, and we want to use dynamic agents, right? Dynamic agents of the Docker containers. In order to use that, we can extend this pipeline, right? So how we can do that? Let's go ahead, and I'm gonna replay it. Okay, let me do one thing. Is code. So I will put all this pipeline code on GitHub repository. If you want to follow along, feel free to do that. And go to one more thing. So settings, and Okay, mouse zoom wheel. This is very helpful option. So we could simply stretch the pipeline and adjust it. So here we go. And let me put some of the comments over here so we know what is what. So end of strap. Okay. And this one is end of stretch, and which is stage VM build. Because when your pipeline code will grow, it is really difficult to identify where is the starting point, where is end point. Okay, so end of stages, and this one is end of pipeline. All right, we are good now. So now we want to extend this further, and we want to use the Docker container, okay, as an agent. Okay, so at the moment we mentioned agent any, so that's why it is getting executed without any agent. So for that, what I could do, I could simply copy this stage, then paste it over here, and let's say Maven build, and we want to use a Docker container. Okay, so for that, let's go ahead pub.docker.com and find the image of the Maven. All right, so this is the image we are interested in, and I guess latest is enough. And if you want different images to try, you can select it over here. So simple Maven is enough. So what I'm gonna do here in this after the stage. Okay, so whenever you have to define the agent, so here the key concept after the pipeline, whatever agent you define, we will define the global agent as well as we progress or as we move forward. So whatever you define at this stage, okay, at this stage, this agent will be used throughout the your pipeline. Okay, but we are interested to build or execute this stage, right, using a Docker container of the Maven. So in that case, what you have to do, so scope of this stage is from here to here, right, and we want to use it for only for this one. So I'll come over here, opening braces of this stage Maven build, I have to type agent Docker container. Okay, I have to provide a name Docker container and image, and you have to use single quote and type Maven. Okay, and here let's give it a name Maven app, and in okay, Java is okay, mvn dash dash version. So guys, here we will at the end we will build, okay, we will do a project where we will see actually how we use this. So at for time being, we are learning how we can set up, how we can use the things. Okay, so that's why I'm just checking the version. So in this container, if Maven command we can execute, then all the Maven related things we can perform. Okay, so that's why we are using this one. All right, so now I'm gonna copy it and paste it over here. I'm doing the replay. Let's go ahead and do that. And what happened? Okay, what it says, let's zoom a little bit. Docker container must be one of any label or none, right? So it says line number 15 column 17, and we are not able to or we are not allowed to use this. Okay, so line number 15, let's come back over here, and if you see, here is our line number 15, right? So why so? Yes, so I have simulated some of the scenario, okay, and we will do the troubleshooting step by step, and these are the most likely we encountered when we set up this. Okay, come over here, and for that we have to go to plugin, and in plugins we have to install some of the plugins. So first plugin we need a Docker. Okay, this one. All right, So let's install this, and you could see these were the initially when we set up, right? So automatically some dependent plugins were also get installed. Okay, so now it's done. Let's go back and execute our pipeline again. So I'm gonna replay it, but it is not gonna work. So what we can do, go to number one, copy our code again. Let me remove this one and build it again, and let's see what happened. So this time you see it didn't throw us an error. Okay, because we installed a plugin. So Docker plugin was there, and now it is going to launch new Docker node based on the Maven. If you see in this one, this line, so it started. Okay, so everything we have discussed already in our part one of the day 4 Jenkins tutorial, but still let me walk you through what happened. We have echo, this is statement, right? PM building, Java version is 21. This is the our current working directory where this is executed, and now it is going to launch new Docker node based on the Maven, right? And the graph view stage plugin which we installed, so because of that we got this option. If you are not able to see this, so check the Docker, not Docker plugins again. Okay, and if you see in this stage, so this stage has successfully completed, but in this stage we don't have anything, right? It's still waiting. Let's go ahead and see the console logs. Okay, still nothing. Let's go ahead, and here we see, click on build executor. We could see we don't have anything, so let's check it some logs, right? And for that you could go over system logs, all Jenkins log, and here we could see what is happening. Let's find out some error messages. Okay, so this was the number 2 when we replay, so it didn't work because of the error. So error fetching execution for replay. Okay, what happened after that? And after that we do not have any of the logs, right? If you want, you can also go ahead and check the system logs. So here basically what's wrong, so if you wait even forever, this will not come. Okay, so the reason is very simple. Here the thing is, in order to, okay, in order to work, or in order to launch the Docker container, right, it should have Docker, or Jenkins required a Docker, right? Docker command can be executed on the system. So what I'm going to do very quickly, let me replay it, and let me run Docker dash dash words. So let's quickly check if Jenkins can execute any Docker command or not. So here it says Docker not found, right? So because of that, Jenkins is not able to, and we know if Docker command is not there on the system, we cannot have any Docker command. We cannot do anything related to the Docker. So what we could do for that, okay, let's quit it over here and let's execute command Docker dash dash version. Okay, so it says command not found. So that is again one of the scenario. And to install a Docker, we have already one script set have prepared. Okay, I will also put the official documentation link for this. If you want to refer that, go ahead and do that. So it will also do the same. It will provide a choice to install and remove, right? And of course we want to install. Okay, and it will perform everything after once you install the Docker. After that, what you need to, like this one, post Linux, if you're installing on the Linux, so these are the post installation steps. Okay, so very simple, that we already learned in our day 6 containerization in very detail. So let me execute the command, and not Bahas, it's a bash. All right, so we want to install, provide password, and it will save our time, at least 5 to 7 minutes. All right, so now if we see, we are able to see client as well as the server. All right, so it's already checked, but still Docker version. So we are using this one. Let's come over here and rerun our job number 4, and let's see what happened this time. So we do something like this. All right, so here next thing, it says yes, we are able to execute Docker command because we installed a Docker, but here we got permission denied while trying to connect to Docker daemon and here the socket, right? So what's wrong here? If you, let me show you again, once again, the script. This is step here, right? Here it says add user, current user to Docker group, and then we have updated this one. Okay, and if you see, where is the strap? This is strap. Sudo user mode ag and Docker and user. Okay, so let's use this command. So what we need to do, we need to add Jenkins user in order to use the uh, Docker, right? So let me quit from here and paste it over here, but we don't want for the current user. So instead of that, because $user, it's a variable, right, which gives you the information of the current user. Okay, that we learn in day 1 part. Okay, we want to provide this access to Jenkins, right? So here we go. And in our script, we have put one more step. What was that? If you see, right, this one, applying group change with the new group Docker. So let's refresh it, and then we will come back and see what happened to Jenkins. So let me replay it again. This is the option. Here is also option, and this time we should be able to see, and it still says no, you are not allowed to. So let's quickly restart the Jenkins. Okay, and for that I'll execute command sudo systemctl restart Jenkins. All right, so it is going to be restarted, and let's check its status. Okay, so Jenkins is up and running. All right, come back over here and we'll replay it again, but we have to log in because we have restarted the Jenkins server. Okay, let's replay 6 and see what happens. Boom, right? So now we are able to do that. But if you see over here, launching new Docker, node base Maven. So it is trying to launch a Docker container using this one. So let's see, do we have any Docker PS? Okay, so at the moment it is trying to launch, but we do not have any container over here, right? So what's wrong? Can we see any logs? Or let's first stop this because it is not gonna work. Let's cancel. we want to port this one, done. And let's go back over here. And if we see is still, it says launching new Docker node based on the Maven. If we go on the home and if we see executor, so still we are not able to see any executor, right? So why is this so? So here the thing is, if your Jenkins server is installed on VM, and if you configure the Docker permission, socket permission to the Jenkins, then Jenkins will still not able to launch any container. So reason is very simple, and for that what we have to do, we have to click on this, and here is the cloud. Okay, so it says install plugin, and you need a Docker plugin, okay, which we already installed. So if I see over here Docker, so this Docker plugin here, it's already installed. Okay, and once you install, then if the plugin is not installed, if you click over here, you will not be able to see anything. So we have already installed Docker plugin, and after that you will be, or that's why we are able to see type Docker, because we have selected one plugin. Okay, but before I would like to quickly show you one more thing over here, plugins, uh, cloud, okay, install plugin. So if you have planned to let's say use any of the cloud or Kubernetes, right? So you have to come over here. You could see there are several other plugins are available: Kubernetes, Amazon EC2, vSphere, Azure, right? And so on and so forth. Like GCP is also, I believe, somewhere. Okay, so these are the available plugins for the cloud, but at the moment we are just trying to set up for exactly. So we want to set up only for Docker. Okay, that's our focus. So we have installed the plugin, click new, and let's say local Docker, and select this one, create one, and come over here, and here it says Docker host URI. And how do you know what you have to do over here? So here we have to provide, okay, we will see next step what we have to do. First we have to provide a Docker server details where the Docker is running. Okay, and how we can identify. So at the moment Jenkins is installed on the VM, and where we want to use we are using the same host machine to use Docker as well. Okay, we don't want Jenkins to update or run the container on the Jenkins itself. We want it to run outside of the container. I mean, yeah, outside of the Jenkins, and that will be over here. So we will be able to see some containers agent over here. Okay, so for that what I need to do, I have to type Unix. Okay, I'll tell you how you can, and where is this value, how we find, right? Okay, so 3, let me show you what I'm doing. Unix, it's a maximum zoom, then var, okay, then run, then docker dot sock, okay, and then we have to test the connection, and what it says, all right, illegal character in scheme index 0. Okay, so you could see index 0. Okay, so illegal character, so expect, okay, so one extra space was there. All right, now, so whatever, if you make any mistake, okay, it will show you the error over here. Click on that, you will get the more information, or just copy paste this, go to your favorite AI, it will give you the solution what you have to do next. Okay, and now we have tested and it says yes, everything is correct. Now this step is not done yet. Okay, let me quickly show you once again. We click on the new cloud. Okay, here there is an option Docker cloud details. When you click on this, you got the Docker host URI. Though it's on the same system Jenkins, and we want to use Docker server also on the same VM. Okay, that's why we are using in this way Unix socket. And we will also come on this what you have to do when your Docker container in a cloud or not same as the server where Jenkins is installed. Okay, so we will see that, and after that you have to enable it. Okay, otherwise it will show you the error. Okay, and you will not be able to use it. So our configuration is done. Let's save this one and come over here, and let me disable this first. All right, so it's terminated, and now we want to replay it. Okay, and let's see what happened now this time in the log. So what just happened? Launching new Docker node. Okay, so it has started to pull in Docker image. Okay, Docker image has pulled, and here we go. Very simple, very easy. And now if you see, so instead of going over here, let me show you here. So that will give you the idea. So in VM case, right, it was on the local system. Okay, in case of Maven build, where we ask Jenkins to build a container out of the, so do we have anything? Okay, not yet. I think it's already spin up. So Docker images, and see, so it has downloaded image over here. Okay, and so in this case, if we see, okay, this was the first our echo statement, then building, I'm sorry, building Maven app, Java version 21. Okay, and Maven version is 3.9.1, right? And Java version again is this one. In this OS is this one, and I execute this command in order to just validate. So we do not have Maven installed on our this host. Okay, where Jenkins is running. So dynamically the agent was spin up, right, and executed this command. So this is how you configure the agent. All right, but now the thing is, this is only a one case. What happened like when we extend our pipeline to the next level? So let's say you have a requirement, project requirement. One second, let me first take a backup of this pipeline. Configure, okay, Jenkins file, okay, one dash Jenkins file like this. Let me put it over here. This is the second one which we have over here. So if you are following, so you could use the same Jenkins file. All right, so now we have two Jenkins file, number one, number two. So next what we are going to do, so this is the one of the use case where only we have added Maven. Okay, let's say we have a requirement of a complex application which also needs a Python and Node as well, right? So what we can do, we can extend this simply, we can extend this pipeline for those as well. So instead of configuring all these tools on our local system, okay, we can simply use the dynamic agent. And dynamic agents are really good in terms of security, because you don't have to do maintenance, right? Because when you install on the local system, then you have to go ahead and use, I mean, when you have to go ahead and maintain them. So security vulnerabilities are there, you have to fix that. So there are so many things as well. So instead of that, what you can do, you could simply use the dynamic agents, and the images are already available on the repository. right, which is over here. So next, here, uh, let's say our application also wants node. So this is our node application. Let's say node build, and building node app. And for that, we don't need this one. We need node. Let's do it one by one. And I'm going to use our image node and node dash dash version, and this end of stage node, right? And we also want Python. So for that, simply we could use the image Python. Okay, and here we can simply run a command Python version. We can remove this as well. We don't need this anymore. Go here. All right, so everything looks cool. Let's just to check it, so we will not have to go ahead and unnecessarily do the troubleshooting. Okay, but that would be our lucky moment. So agent any stages, so we have a stage VM build where we are simply executing these commands. Okay, and then this is the end of this stage VM. Then we are doing maven build, then docker container, image maven, and exactly the same thing. Let's go ahead, not use this one, just maven version is enough, because that also provide us Java version information. So a stage maven build and node build, and in this we are using image node version. Okay, and Python and Python version, all good. Okay, let's copy and paste this here, not in the configuration. Let me rerun this here. Replay. Okay, that's how we do the troubleshooting. Once everything is fine, after that we can commit into our GitHub repository. Let's go ahead and see. All right, so it's pulling the image. Instead, we could go ahead and see over here. So VM build has successful. Maven build is also successful. Now it is working on node. So let's wait a while. Meanwhile, we could check over here. Docker PS. All right. So node image is okay. So it's a container, right? And already Maven build is done. It's node one. So that's why we are able to see the node. After that, we will be able to see Python. So let's go ahead and check the classic console. What it's saying. So image has downloaded, waiting for node to be online. So let's go over here. Okay, so this is our container, right? So let's go to build executor, and this one is our current Docker container where it is getting executed. Let's see the logs, what it says. All right, it says OCI runtime exe. Let me make a zoom of it. OCI, okay, runtime exe file. Unable to start container process, Java executable file not found in dollar path. And it says unexpected error in launching the agent. So why is this so? So it's very simple here. The answer is when, let's go back to this one. Console out. So in case of Maven, or maybe I could, okay, that's fine. We can go ahead. So it says here launching node based on the Maven, right? So what happened here when Maven, right? So Maven by default has a Java installed in, Okay, and that's why using that Java, Jenkins is able to perform. I mean, once node is connected, then Jenkins is able to connect the dynamic agent can connect with the Jenkins, okay, using their Java based protocol. And that's why this node was online, right? But in this case, what happened? You know, so it was removed, and yeah, and when it started to launch, so first time it has to pull the image because it didn't find any image, right? After downloading, it has trying to spin up the container. Okay, so what happened exactly? If you see, you could say, okay, container is already started. Yes, container is already started, but here the problem is it is not able to connect with the Jenkins master or Jenkins controller because it does not have Java. Okay, so there are two solutions over here. Either you could create a customized Docker image, okay, and after that you can use that Docker image so that can use or that can communicate with the controller. But that's I don't want. Okay, because I'm a lazy person, I don't want to create image again and again. So for example, if I have an application where, let's say, Java based, right, or I have thousands of microservices, so should we create each and every time separate Docker container uh, image for that? We could do that. It's not possible. There is automation, but what I want to do, I want to use whatever publicly image available, and if it is set, so official image I'm saying. So our use case now has changed, right? We don't want to create or image for each and every, okay? Because for example, in case of node, right, in case of node container, I do you need Java in that? Of course Jenkins need, but in order to run or build your application you don't need it. So Jenkins should be automatically spin up the container, okay, whatever version we provide. So let's go ahead and do that. So let me first stop it, and I told you where you could check the logs. So go over here and here. So this one, build status, and here you will be able to see the logs. Okay, build history, and if you directly click logs, you will see the error. Okay, and it says unknown path process exec java executable file not found. So that's why it is not able to connect with the controller. All right, so let's get back to here. Build, no, not this one. Here we go. Stop this. So it, okay, because it is not gonna come up. And if we see, okay, so there is, it is not going to terminate, right? So this is still there. So is there, we will remove it later. Okay, so in order to fix, what we can do, so for that what we can do, because for each and every time I don't want to run or create a new Docker image, right, and separate Docker image. So I mean, for each and every agent, so simply here there is an option. If we come over here, Docker Jenkins agent, and here we go. So we can use this Jenkins inbound agent, and rest of the all container we are going to execute inside. Okay, and how we can do this? So let's configure it. Okay, so let me show you what I'm trying to achieve over here. So here, instead of this one, I mean, we want to execute something like this. So for each and every stage, I want to use different dynamic agent. Okay, so that's the aim, and I think we already copy this. So let me drag the number 2 Jenkins file agent any. Okay, Maven. Okay, so we haven't copied yet. So Let's copy this third. All right. So now what we want, we instead of saying agent any, right? So in agent any, instead of that, what we are going to do, we will be using a Docker agent. Sorry, Jenkins, of course, Docker agent, but Jenkins inbound agent. Okay. And for that, what we have to do here, the agent part, let me copy it. And instead of this one, so this is the way to comment it, done like this, Docker image container. And which image I want to use this one, Jenkins inbound agent. And we don't want 21, we want we don't want 17, we want 21. Okay, and so let's go ahead and use it like this. If you have requirement particular version, right, if you want to log down something like this, so let us dedicate 21 like this. Okay, let's go ahead and do it like, all right. So now let's come back and replay it again, but with the new pipeline. So before I run, let me tell you what I've done over here. So still, instead of saying agent any, we are asking Jenkins to use this Docker image, right? And as I said before, when you are defining anything over here, it is going to be part of your all the rest of the stage. Okay, so rest of the stages were not able to connect with the Jenkins controller. That's why we are using Jenkins inbound agent, where this everything is already predefined configure. If you want to learn about more, read it. Okay, and we already talked in our Jenkins 2 and 3, where we talk about all this, what is, how this inbound agent and everything works, right? So here we are just learning how we can set it up. We have already copied it, right? So our all the entire pipeline will be getting executed using this, and for rest of the container. Okay, for we also ask it to go ahead and use this one, Maven, right, Docker container inside the main. So let's execute this and see what happened. Do we get any lucky moment? So image is being pulled complete. Okay, waiting for node to be online. And let's see over here, Docker yes. So this is inbound agent, Maven, node. Okay, so let's see what's happening. Let it be SS. Let's open pipeline overview. Okay, so no wonder, we know it has a Java, but again it got stuck over here, I believe. And we go here, and now 0 of 1 executor. Okay, so, click over here, see the logs. So agent is successfully connected. That's great. But inside we want to spin up the another container. Let's clear the screen and execute the same command. So as our Maven, like in this one, right, Maven job got executed. That's why the Maven container is destroyed. But node is still there. Okay, it didn't perform anything so far, right? And at the end, agent, this one will be destroyed. But this agent is connected. What's wrong? If we see the console logs, right, view classic console, so it's the same, right? This is what happening before, got stuck for the node to be online. So it is again not able to launch a node. right? Why it is not able to launch? Exactly. So very simple thing. Let's go over here. Think. Hmm, right, right. Okay. Let me go again and replay it. And this time here, I'm gonna run command docker version. Okay. If you see what I've done here. Okay. So let's see if this command it can execute even in Maven as well. And let's see first two step. I mean, I just put it extra, but let's check it over here whether it is going to be get executed or not. So let's run this and see what happens. This time we got something different, and since beginning, I mean, VM stage it already says Docker not found. So it's the same problem, right? How we can resolve this? So initially, like we ran into the same situation where Docker command is not able to execute it. Jenkins, right? Jenkins was not able to execute the command, and then we change it, and after that we were able to successfully solve everything over here in this stage, right? Maven build and all these things. So how we can fix this problem? Okay, so we can fix this problem. So in order to fix that, we have to go here, notes, and not notes. We have to come, where is the cloud here? And we have to do some further configuration over here. Okay, local Docker, and we have to add a template. Okay, and template, and here we could say Jenkins agent or Docker agent or Jenkins agent. All right, let's keep it as is. Need to enable it, give it a name. Okay, so level is we are going to use in the pipeline. Okay, that's why we are putting it over here. And okay, let's use this one. We want to use this. Okay, let's put this Docker image, then instance capacity, let's say 5, and you have to provide a remote file system root. Okay, home and Jenkins. Jenkins. All right, everything, let's leave it as is. And now we apply it. Okay, and come back over here. Let's go ahead. It's aborted now, and replay. And we see instead of using Docker image like this, what we are going to do, we will be using label. So second, so here, I guess we already have this one. No, let me copy this first as a Jenkins file 4, 3 Jenkins file, and but I want 4, not the 3. Invest. All right, so now instead of this, remove it. We are not going to use this anymore because we have already configured a template, okay, which is over here. And I'll again walk you through, summarize what we have done. So we have to copy the label. Okay, so I have just given it the same name. If you want to check it, test it, so you could say Jenkins agent dash level, Jenkins agent dash name, and you can use that. So I put it like this, Jenkins agent, and inside that we have to do something like this, level. And always remember, you have to put this in single quote. Okay, so this is, instead of downloading an image, what we are doing, we are configuring the Docker agent template over here. Okay, so we don't have to do it again and again, over and over, right? So we already saved the configuration, what we have done. So let me show you again. We come on the cloud part, click over here, configuration. Then this was the cloud configuration. We already done it before. It's working. We can test it. Then Docker agent template. Okay, and in that we have just clicked random. You could put any name, enable it. This is the name. This is the image you want to use. Right after that, we have put a capacity. If you want to read about more, just click on this. It will give you the more information. Okay, the root file system. So we have to provide a home directory, so all the files can be stored in that. And instead of this, let's say only build the job with the level expression matching this node. Okay, so not everybody is going to, or if you want this agent should be used as by default for everything, just put this like use as much as possible. Okay, then yeah, rest we don't make any of the changes. Again, apply and go over here. Let's run this. Remove, and we'll get error. Let's see. Okay, so Jenkins agent has started. All good. I could building this one, Java version. All right. So what happened? Maven is also done, but it says waiting for node to be online. So let's clear the screen. Docker PS, and this was the old one. So let's remove it. Docker and we don't need it anymore. All right. This is our node agent, right? The main one is this, and inside this we are running this one. Let's troubleshoot this further. Executor, and this one is current executor, Jenkins agent, right? And Jenkins agent logs, okay, which is successfully connected. And this one is the current one, and let's check its log. And again, it got the same problem, Java. Okay, so what we can do in this case, how we can fix this, right? It's too much, right? We are doing again and again and again, and we are not able to fix anything. All right, so let's go ahead and fix that. Okay, so what is my motto over here, guys? To show you each and everything step by step. Okay, how you could do the troubleshooting, right? So for that, what we need to do, let's go back here, and let me stop it first. It is not gonna come. And let's remove this as well. We don't need, otherwise it will stay over there, and it will be, yeah, it will go in some time. Mm, okay, here we go. So now what we have to do, let's go over here. It's still running, I believe. Yeah. All right, it's already done. Let's go over here, and this time what we have to do, there is a problem. right? It is not able to connect or spin up the Docker container inside the Docker container. It's the same problem, right? When we initially configure this one, right? Docker socket. So for this agent, okay, so because it is able to connect with the Jenkins controller, but inside that it is not able to create or spin up the or execute the Docker related thing. So what we have to provide here, there is option container setting. Click over here, go all the way to the mount, right? Don't go to volume, and here you have to put something like this. And what is this? Here we are mounting the Docker socket inside this container. Okay, so source is this one, target is the same, right? And type is bind. So it's a volume concept. Okay, same thing. I will put a link in the description for the Docker volume. Recently there is a video uploaded, okay, which is dedicated for the Docker volumes, okay, where we have discussed everything in too much detail, I would say. All kind of volume we have covered over there. So now let's apply this and come back over here, and now let's rebuild this. Shoot. And here we go. Docker PS. Okay, we don't have any. We have Maven. We have Node. Okay, all right. Let me copy this one as this and the right, right, right. File. Oh, sorry, not CP. That. All right. This one is over here. Clear the screen. And this time we'll make some changes. Okay, and instead of using Docker container, we will be using Docker directly. Okay, or let's do one thing. Before that, we need to install one plugin. Okay, this is done. Save, and here. And one more thing, if you wondering where to do the troubleshooting, right, with the your agent. So you have to come to the configuration. If any error is there, you will find over here. Okay, click on that and you can resolve the error. Okay, so manage Jenkins plugin, and let's see, we need a Docker pipeline. Okay, so it is not installed. Docker pipeline. So it says build use Docker containers from pipeline. So we need this one. So let's install this. Okay, which is done. Let's restart the Jenkins. All right, let's go back over here. Yeah, so Safari, which gives extra protection. Okay, image is up to date, ready. Okay, preparing for shutdown. Okay, after shutdown it has come again, and let me rerun it. Replay. Same. We are not going to make any changes over here, but just replay it. Let's see. It's still the same. Okay. So in that case, what we have to do instead of this one here, right? We will change in different way. Let's copy it, Control F, and we will replace this one with Docker. Replace this one, this one. Okay, we do not have any more result. And all right, rest all cool. All right, so let me copy this one, come back over here, and we'll replay this 40 number. We going to run this one, and boom. Okay, it's pulling Python, Docker PS, and you could see 17 seconds, about a minute. Pull is complete. And our pipeline is success. So see over here. So of course, this one Maven build. So it use Maven, right? Node build, it use version this one, and the Python build, right? For Python, it also gives us this Python 3.1, right? And if I execute this command just to validate, we do not have Python, right? And we also do not have Node as well. Let's copy paste. I'm lazy person, don't prefer to type again and again. Okay, that's why we have set up the pipeline in this way. All right, so Docker PS, and our job has done. So let me show you one more thing. Click over here, about it, uh, 30. About this one. All right, and we test and screen, check again. Okay, 3 minute, 2 minute, and this is gonna be there. So do we, okay, all these are over here, these are online and suspended. What I could do, Docker rm, or let's give it some time. So if it won't, then because job was not executed successfully, okay, and that's why this didn't, or this will not go. Let me do it manually. Oh, all right, response no such containers, so some of them already gone. This means okay, so this will go away, no problem in some. All right, so let me quickly summarize this. This is one of the important concept. Okay, now I explain you everything where you have to do what. Okay, but the most important, one of the most important thing, whenever you are using any cloud configuration, so first thing what you have to do in cloud configuration, you have to provide the Docker host URI. So in that case, we have learned this one, right? Unix var run docker.sock, right? And so it was on local system, so we don't need to, and we after that we don't need to provide the or expose the Docker socket or Docker daemon. Okay, and then we test the connection, it went successfully, then we had to enable this one, and after that we come over here, right? We have to use Docker agent template, and Docker agent template is like this. Okay, the name, whatever name you want to give it, Jenkins I mean, that was the label. This is the name, and this is the Docker image you are using. If you want, you can also go ahead and find image from here, whatever you want, Alpine or something like that. I'm fine with this one. Okay, and here is the special container settings. Okay, this is one of the important in over here, because in we are going to do next setup. Okay, and here we have to provide this mount. Okay, so here the socket, we have provided the Docker socket, okay, where it is actually happening or not happening. The Docker daemon is there, so we have mounted Docker sockets inside this container. That's why this container, okay, which container? The Jenkins agent container was able to perform or create further more containers. That's why we were able to see all these things here. I guess, yeah, somewhere here, node, it was, yeah, node Maven on Python and all these things. Okay, so keep in mind, if your setup is there, and especially most of the time, or I would say 95% of the time, when we configure the Jenkins, okay, there is one more Jenkins agent. Like if you directly search Jenkins agent, you will find this one as well, and it is based on the jar file. You see this one. Okay, and if you are using this one, so these are the ways you can use it. So go ahead and do that. So that is your next, you could say, the practice one. When you change different agent, then what happened. So I'm not gonna do that. I just showed you once this one. Try to do this one and see what happened, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Okay, so this is important part. Okay, how you can bind and all these things. So we have mounted the sockets as a volume, right, inside this, and after that we did not make any changes in there. Okay, don't ever click on this run container privilege. Okay, and then build job with the label expression. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much the configuration we have done, and this was very simple. And next thing I would like to tell you, leave this one, the plugins. Okay, which is also important part, because in your interview you have to, or most likely you are going to ask, okay, if you have done setup in this way, so what kind of plugins you used. So don't just say the plugins name, also mention the errors. Like I already simulated the errors, just take note of that, and try to also make a note of your own, okay, steps which you, if you are following along, if you run into any situation, so how you can use that. Okay, so these are the plugins we really need in order to set up the Docker agents in the, or for the Jenkins controller. Okay, Docker API plugin, Docker common plugins, Docker pipeline, and Docker plugin. These are all right. So this has done, and now I would like to show you one more thing over here. So how you, if you want to set up, so this is the first scenario. Second scenario, where your container, I mean Jenkins, is running inside the container and want to connect agent as a VM outside the container. So that's we will do. And next also we have to do the both setup as a container. So let's do one thing. If you are done with this, so you could simply use the this script, bash Jenkins, not bash, bash Jenkins. Yeah, okay, so you could use choice number 2. Be careful. Okay, uh, so what you can do in this case, always they uninstall, reinstall, I mean again install, and try to configure again and again. Okay, in order to do the practice, and that's why I have created this script. So at the moment I want to keep it as is over here. So what I will do, I will stop the Jenkins server. Okay, sudo system ctl stop Jenkins. Okay, provide the password, and here we go. Everything is gone, right? No problem. Our pipeline's code is still there. So let me check the last pipeline what we had. Okay, so it's the same one. There is no difference, I believe. Okay. It's not the sixth one, is the different one. Yeah, all right. Here we use the Docker as an agent pipeline, right? All right. So we have saved all the Jenkins files over here, right? Similarly, we also have the Docker script and the Jenkins script. So now this part is done. Next, we are going to install a Jenkins in a container and do the further things. Okay, so I hope so far you do not have, you understand the concept thoroughly. If not, please do practice. I have given a script over here, and once you are done with that, then please move forward. Okay, and if you have any questions, drop them in comments. Until and unless you don't understand fully, okay, not confident, don't move forward, because now we are going to do more complex thing, and where the actual fun begins. Okay, so let's do it. All right, let's first see how we can install Jenkins in container. So for that, very simple. Let me show you one thing here. Just try Jenkins, and this is the official image. Okay, on this page, you will not find any instruction. So if you want to pull the Docker image, you simply could do like this. Okay, but I would like to click over here, and on this page, you will find all the um, documentation, how you can use, so all the uses, how you can use the this Jenkins image. Okay, so I will simply copy this command, and let's run it over here. Though it's a JDK 17, if you want, you can use 21 as well. Okay, before that, let me check, do we have any Docker container? Okay, we do not have any container. Let's run this. All right, so Jenkins has started. This is the password, and I did not run it detach mode, so let's access it again over here and provide the password, and we can do to continue the setup, right? So this was the thing, I mean, how we can configure that, everything I told you. So if you want to know further how we can do this, okay, with the simple running the container, if you want to use a volume, so what volume you, or how you can use the volume, all instructions are written over here. Okay, so that's, instead of that, what I'm going to do, you could simply follow along, procedure is the same, but instead of that, I'm going to do something else, and something else is, we already configure the Jenkins before. Okay, so instead of doing the new configuration, for your practice you do it, but what I'm going to do now, so instead of resetting up the Jenkins from the scratch, right, so instead of that, what we will do, whatever Jenkins we had configured, we will migrate that into the container. So it is another use case when you already have your Jenkins running on VM. So you don't need to reconfigure everything. It's very simple. So let's migrate it. So before that, yes, okay. So let me remove this. All right, we do not have any image, and so volume Alice. Okay, quickly run unused. Yeah. All right. So we do not have any volume. All the volumes is gone. Let's do. So very first thing, the first condition for this, what you need to do, first you have to stop the Jenkins. So sudo strumctl status Jenkins. Okay, so Jenkins is already stopped. If it is not, so you have to use on stop. Okay, then check the status. So Jenkins is already off, right? Now we already have the Jenkins home directory over here, var lib and Jenkins. The Jenkins we have configured, so this is the directory, okay, where all the Jenkins data gets stored. So what we will do, we will simply use the same directory, all the content for the new container. Okay, so let's do it. Sudo tar -c -c sat vf, and we want Jenkins underscore backup tar dot c sat, and which directory we want to use this. Okay, let's do it. All right, so we got a backup file. After that, remember, this is very important. Okay, so after that, what we need to do, we simply have to use the star file, okay, for the new container. So still you do not have to, or you don't need to start the Jenkins. And I believe you already have, of course we have already Docker installed, right? So dash version, if it is not, then you have to install the Docker. But in our case, Docker is already uh, pre-configured, right? Because we did it before. Next step, what you have to do, we have to create a volume, Docker volume, create Jenkins underscore data, right? So already we learned the volume concept, right? There is a dedicated already session on this. So if you want to check out in the resource section of the description. I put all the resources over there. All right. So our volume has created Docker volume Alice, right? So this is the data, and at the moment we do not have any data in over here. It's completely empty. So what we have to do, so simply we could perform command inspection, inspect Docker volume inspect and the volume name. Then you can go and check whether this has any data or not. If you want me to do, let me quickly show you ls, right, var lib docker volumes, and this is our Jenkins data. Inside that, at the moment we have underscore data. Okay, and this is empty. There is nothing in. So yeah, total 0. Okay, now what we will do, we will extract the Jenkins data. This directory we will extract into here, and to do that we need to run a sidecar container, or not sidecar, I mean we will spin up a temporary container. Okay, and then all the data of this directory we will put inside over here. Okay, so for that we will run, we'll spin up a temporary Docker container that will put all the data of this directory at this location. So docker run -rm. Okay, this is a for new line -v -v, and inside that we are asking it to use this volume Jenkins data, and where we want to mount it, let's say in /data. Okay, so we have mounted this volume at this location. Next, what you have to do, this one, and you could use pwd, right? So current directory where we are in, and this we want to say backup, right? Next, what we have to do, we need image busybox. So we will use busybox. It's just the name of the Docker image, and after that we want to execute a command. And what command? cd/data, and then we want to extract. So before we okay, so file name, it should be tar.t, but anyways, no problem. So tar, right? And for that we use exzadvf, and where we want to extract it, backup. So this one, let me copy it over here, and inside that, this one, let me copy the name as is, right? 3. Okay, so let me summarize what I have done over here. So we are running a container, and we are mounting volume, right, for this, and in current working directory where we are in home directory, not home directory, at this location. So I use pwd, and there is another location inside the container, backup, and we are using the Docker image, this one, and we are executing the command. And in this we are, after in this we are changing the directory to data, means this one. Okay, because where the Jenkins volume is there, then we are extracting backup. So backup is this one, right? So because here we have mounted all the local or the current, so pwd means over here, so we will get this zip file, right? So that's why tar this and over here. Fine, so let's do it. And here one thing you might be wondering, what is this strip 3? So it extracts the backup and remove the first 3 folder levels. Okay, hit enter. All right, so it's done. And if we will not remove, if we see, so all the data has been copied in this volume. Okay, before it was empty, but now we have the volume, I mean data over here. So now in next step, what we have to do, Yes, this is the important point. If you see over here, Jenkins, so all the directory, everything has the permission as a Jenkins. So if we run a Jenkins container at this moment and mount this volume over there, it will throw a error. Okay, and the error is permission. So in order to fix the permission, you need to run sudo chon. We have to change the ownership of this. Okay, so sudo chon 1000 group ID, 1000 is a user ID, 1000 is a group ID, and simple. Right, we have to copy this path and paste it over here. All right, let's run it again. My bad. Sudo chon, then recursively. We want to do it recursive. All right, so yeah, it has changed. So if you see ID, you could see the 1000 is my current user ID. And why we are doing this? Because when you run a Jenkins container inside Jenkins, the user is Jenkins, and which has a user ID 1000. Okay, so all these are Linux concept we learn in day one. So regardless, the username is different, but Linux works on the user ID. Okay, so that we already learned. So it's a simple thing. Now clear the screen. Now we will run. Now it's a time to run our Jenkins container. So for that, I will use docker run dash d. Use the name, let's say Jenkins. Then we have to use port, right? 8080, where I want to access 8080. It's a port of the container, and this is the 50,000. Sorry, 5,000, not 50,000. Use 5,000. I mean, we could change this, but the container port is this one, right? And we already talked what's the significance of this if we go in other way, right? Then we have to mount a volume, and how, which one? So Jenkins underscore data. Okay, that's the volume we created here. Jenkins underscore data. Let me do one thing like this, and what we want to do and what we have to mount over here. So if you see in here, you could see over here on the same instruction page, volume Jenkins home var Jenkins, right? So this is the thing we want to use. Okay, I would also copy up to over here like this. Let's use this. Uh, mm. So we have mounted a volume, and now we have to give a name of the Docker image. I'm over here. So let me quickly summarize what I have done. Again, docker run, it's a docker command we already learned in Docker day 6, right? That's our part is already done. Now, and here we are giving a name, and name is Jenkins. This is the name of the container, and this is the port. Okay, 8080 by default. This is the default port of the Jenkins inside the container. This one we want to access, and this one is okay. It's it should be 50,000. Let me copy it here. All right, it's quick. Okay, so Docker run port out for the Jenkins, port for the agents. Okay, And if you are using SSH batch, so you don't need probably this port. Okay, and here we go, Jenkins data or Jenkins home and the name of the Docker image. All right, let's copy this and okay, all right, let's run it. So it does not have Docker image, but we got it over here. And now if we see Docker PS, okay, so up and running. Let's check the log, Docker logs, and the name of the container, Jenkins. All right, so Jenkins fully up and running. And this time, if you see, we don't get any password. Why? Yes, exactly, because we have just migrated. Okay, and let's access this over here. And this time, if I reload it, okay, so that's gone, and I can use my previous the username which I have created and book, right? So we got our everything, all the data, everything is over here. Whatever plugin you install, rest everything is same. Okay, but for you, if you want your use case is different, if you haven't installed, right, or maybe you are doing fresh, I of course this link I'll also put in the description. You could use it. I also showed over here how you could access this. Just read one by one and go what you want. I mean, do whatever is your use case. Okay, so it's very simple, and we will visit it later on. So let's first see. Now our Jenkins is running inside the container. So very first thing, let's check the configuration, what we have put it last time, and let's run it first. So build now, and it says, okay, all right, exactly. Okay, it providing us the information. So our job has successful. Now what we will do, we will create a multi-stage pipeline over here. Okay, let's give it a name, multi. All right, so multi-stage. Let's keep it like this. So it's better to read. Okay, what I have given name multi-stage pipeline. Then I have to select pipeline, and then I'll go all the way down and click on OK. All right, so everything is over here. We are not making or doing any of the changes here. We have the pipeline script. We will also see how we can use the multiple um, repository in order to execute this. Okay, so let me just remove this, and here you go. This was our Docker agent label, right? And copy this. So the same pipeline, we didn't make any of the changes. Okay, we just paste it over here, and let's check it, what happened. So build now, and let's see. Okay, the I think we need to wait some time. Okay, so let's troubleshoot this. So let me duplicate that, and we see the configuration of the cloud. All right, let's go to configure and see over here. So okay, we have some kind of error. Disable one this show details, and it says no such file or directory. Okay, some or yeah, these are the. So I think first we need to fix this. Okay, and if you see over here, so still we wait, it is not gonna come up at all. Okay, it will be keep on waiting, and it says still waiting to schedule task and does not have any label Jenkins agent. But if you see over here, Docker template agent, so we have this one Jenkins agent, but it is not going to work. Okay, why? Because the thing is like, first of all, it must have to connect with the socket or the Docker daemon. Okay, now Jenkins is not anymore on the local server, it is inside the container, and it could not be directly talk to the Docker daemon. So how we can fix this? So in order to fix this, let's keep it as is, and let's configure u1. So we could give it a name, something. Okay, remote. So if you want to configure any of the Docker daemon, which is even not in local system, right? So you have to do in the same way like we are doing. So I just copy it, local Docker. Okay, so we don't have to do everything again, but instead of accessing this one, okay, so ultimately we have to see here this command should be get executed successfully. Okay, after that we can make any further changes. So for this, what we can do, so to do the configuration of local or maybe remote server to access the Jenkins, right? So what we can do over here, so let's just save it and come over here on the terminal, and if you know, to do system ctl status docker, so our docker service is running. So what you have to perform is copy this one, right? And you could see this line, right? Docker service. So use sudo vim, and I guess I messed up, so I need to copy the path again and put it over here. So very simple thing here, this is the line number, I think 14 15. Okay, when you come over here and see this line, so what we need to perform, we have to just copy this, and always remember, whenever you are doing any of the configuration, always take a backup of the file before making any changes. Okay, so exec start this one, and here what we want to do, we want to expose the, or we want to accept, or we want, here what we are doing, we are telling Docker, okay, we want to access the Docker daemon, right, or Docker socket from this host or the from this IP. Okay, so in case, first what I'm gonna do, let me not the, so we will keep it as is, and here we have to add one line, and so in, I mean not one line, one word. So H is the host, TCP is the protocol, and here we go. And here we have to put the IP address. So for time being, I'm using 0.0.0, okay, or again 0. But in real time scenario, instead of putting or accepting traffic from everywhere, you put a IP address, okay, from where you want to accept the connection. Okay, so I don't want to put 00. So what I will do, I will execute one command, IP address show, and it's docker 0. This is the interface. Okay, so I'll just copy this IP and I'll come back again over here, and instead of putting 00, what I can do, I can just delete this and put like this, and I want to listen on port 2375. Okay, and after that, let me remove this one. Simple, nothing special. We just copy entire string from, I mean, this line from, and just paste it over here. Okay, and after that, don't touch this one. This is as is. Then you have to use the dash or hyphen h, use the TCP protocol, and we are exposing this for this interface. Okay, now let's save this. Then you have to run a command sudo system ctl reload, daemon reload. Oh, and we have to start the Docker service. Sudo system ctl restart Docker. Okay, it might take a time. So ideally, this step you do before going to configure this. Okay, but I wanted to show you, that's why I did it in reverse order. So let's see. So obviously we started the service Docker PS, and Jenkins is not up. So Docker start Jenkins. All right, Jenkins is again back. Okay, and we need this one, right? This IP. And Docker. Okay, whatever we are using, it should match it here. So let's come back, remote Docker. So ID, password, getting, and we are doing it remote configuration. Okay, so this time, before we were using this one, but this time we are using different TCP. Let me show you what I'm doing over here. TCP, sorry, not this one. We to copy this IP, and then port number 2375. Then all the way come little bit over here, test connection, and it says because path is null. Okay, so like this. Now test. Okay, so 28.3.3, 28.3.3. Okay, so we are done with this. Our configuration is done. Let's apply and come over here. Let's reload. Okay, so what we are going to do, let's stop this and rebuild. Now let's see what happened. Okay, something happened over here. Before it was waiting for something. Now you could see You could see over here Jenkins agent. Let's see what happened. So this is VM build, right, where this stage is successfully executed. And if we see over here, right, in Maven, it says Docker pull Maven. So Docker not found. So here there is an issue with the, so let's fix this. So in order to fix this, we have two solution for this, whether we could have a Docker CLI uh, agent, and by which we can use this, but that we will see later. So we will go for the second option, and second option is very simple. And what we are going to do, if we come over here, okay, so I don't know why it's showing like this. So it was previous error, but it is not anymore. Okay, configure. Okay, so this error has gone. Now in Docker agent template, okay, here we will configure add Docker template, and what we have to perform Maven. Okay, enable it. This is the level. I use the same Maven, and Docker image is also Maven, and that's it. Yeah, one more thing, the important one, instance capacity. So I don't want it to overwhelm the server by creating multiple um, Docker containers. So always keep this as per your system capacity. All right, now it's done. So apply. Yeah, apply means save means save and exit. So we'll come back over here and we will build the pipeline again. All right, and let's go ahead and change this to 3. All right, 3 and 4 are still failed. And what's the reason? Okay, so reason is this. What is still it says Docker, right? So what we need to do over here, we will change something over here. So instead of using this one, right, let me something like this. Here we are going to use agent level, this one as is, okay, for this stage. But instead of Jenkins agent, we use the Maven. Okay, so now let's copy and run this. Play. Run. And this time we are able to see the Maven, but it's still failed. Let's check it over here. Okay, VM fixed, Maven build fixed. Okay, before it was getting error, but in case of node, it says Docker not found, right? So very simple. What we can do for this? Yes, exactly. So we can configure one more Docker template. Label is node. Okay, let's enable this node, and instance capacity 1, root file system all good, and yeah, the rest we leave it as is. And let's rerun and now see what happens. So we are using the same pipeline. Okay, accept, like okay, so let me put it over here. uh, like 6 Jenkins files. So this one is our 7. and here I'm gonna make changes like just disable this one. Let's copy this and run it again over here, and let's go and see its pipeline overview. Okay, so VM build, Maven build. Now let's see the node. Let's go and see the console log, the classic one. So, okay, here what happened, you could see Python script, but it says node not found. Okay, so let's check what I have done in the pipeline. Okay, my bad. Should be node. I just copy pasted from the above one. Let's run it again. Now, so we have configured already the node agent and the node image over here. Node, and node level, right? Let's see console output. It's fine for us. Okay, so first two steps are done, like we could see over here, and it was, this was successful, this was successful, but node is not. So let's see, and you could see these are just a temporary, okay, temporary agents. So before first starts or executed in this one, I'll explain the pipeline as well. Second one in the Maven container, and if you click over here, you get the more information regarding this. Okay, like in case if you need to troubleshoot, you could do like this. Go and see. So this is the node, right? The current node which we are actually accessing at the moment, where node stage is being executed. So if I go, so simply I click on this, and you could see this node is on remote Docker. So here if I run Docker, let me clear the screen, Docker PS, you could see this is Jenkins inbound agent, latest this one, and this is the node, right? And it has been waiting over here. So let's click and check the logs. What's the problem? So it's again the classic one, right? The Java path is not found. OCI runtime failed, and let's see. So this is the OCI runtime exe failed. Okay, unable to start container process. So guys, here the thing is, whenever we have or we are executing any of the dynamic agent, right, it must have Java in order to connect with the Jenkins. Okay, so if you see here the node, so node was the, of course it is able to spin up the container, but this container is not able to connect with the Jenkins, and that's why this is a problem. So how we can fix this problem? So in order to fix this problem, either you could do one thing, you can create the custom image of the node, and in that you could install the Java inside. Okay, and then you can use it over here. So that's very simple, right? So but in that case, what happen when you have different use cases, right? So in that case, you need, or it has to connect with the Jenkins master, And for that, we have this Docker image, like we already discussed, this one, Jenkins agent, right? So we need an inbound agent, right, in order to connect with the, so it depends on how you are configuring. So what I'm gonna do now, I will create one custom Docker image. So in order to execute the node command, as well as it would be able to connect with the Jenkins controller. So for that, I will create one Docker file. Do we have any Docker file? Okay, so vim Docker file, and let's say node, file node, and okay, so this is the Docker file which we are going to use now, and it's very simple. From we are using, one second, save it and move it. We'll rename it again in a bit. Okay. Now you could see from, so that's what we already learned in day 6 part 4 and 5, right, which are dedicated to write the Jenkins file. And I think, not I think, it's a more than 3 hours we discuss only about how we can write the uh, Docker file. Okay, so here, but let me explain you quickly. So from is the base image, we are using this, and we want to change it because rest of the instruction we want to run as a root user. And after that, in this we are just installing a node, right, and then we are checking this, and again we have changed the user to Jenkins. That's it, right? Now let's run Docker run, not run, we have to build it. So Docker build, and let's give it a name tag, my node dot. Okay, why dot? Because our Docker file is already here, so we don't have to mention any of the file name. So let's give it some time to build. All right, it's done. And this is the Docker image which we have created. Docker images, and you could see this Docker image has just created 10 seconds ago. Now come back over here. Okay, in the node configuration, like this. So the last one was the node configuration. Yeah, here we go. So here the image which we have created, you have to use this one, put like this, my node, tag is lattice, so we don't need to. Additionally, one more thing you have to do over here, okay, pull image every time. So instead of that, you have to say never pull, because our Docker image is already over here and we want Jenkins to use this one. Okay, so that's why I said never pull. And now we will go back on this one and we stop this. We will rerun it again. Let me quickly check Maven node. Okay, then we will see for the Python. All right, so just going ahead, it's doing its work. All right, so we already noticed this, right? Let's quickly check what happened. Replayed, right? Yeah, so this is stage running on this one. This is also done, right? And then Maven, building Maven app, it is also working. Node, now we are able to see the node version, right? And we did not install node on our local system. I could show you once again if you want to, and node command not found, right? And after that, what happened? It says yes, Docker not found. Okay, is the same one. So very simple thing, we can again configure one more Docker agent for the Python. Okay, And for Python, what we will do, let me do this. Docker image is my dash Python, because again, it is not going to work out. Okay, so we have to create one local Docker image for Python as well. Okay, so I and use only build, right? We already discussed what is the all these things, right, in day 5 part 2 and 3 and 1 as well, right? The uses, so only build job with level expression, that's okay. And here pull, never pull the image. But if you try it from your side and check it what happened. Okay, so I have given a name, my Python. So let's save it and come back over here, and we can move, right, docker file to docker file node. Okay, and now we create another docker file, and that is for Python. So it's the same, paste it over here. So again, the same thing, we are using base image, this one using as a root, and we are installing Python in Python 3. All right, and again we have changed the name of this. So build, and instead of my node we are using it my Python. Go ahead and do that. All right, it's done. Now we come back over here and we would rerun it. Okay, so let me first copy this, and this is gonna be 8 Jenkins file number 8. Save, and now we are going to change this. So agent node, sorry, instead of that we will type 5. Let's comment this out. Okay, so it's done, and now we are able to rerun this pipeline. Okay, let's see. Okay, Maven container is running, Python container is running, and it says Python not found. Okay, all right. So I guess we need to do like this, and then it is gonna be work. Then it will work. It will work. Python 3, then run. Check this stage. Oh, yes, my node. Okay, now it's working on Python, and our pipeline is success. Right. If we want to check a log, we could check it. So Python version is also over here. So for this kind of multi, when you have use case something like this, okay, where you have to run different stages with different different build, right? Simple. So in that case you could use the pipeline, okay, and the level concept. And for that, what we okay, so quickly see over here what we have done so far. Okay, we created additional, so like in clouds we said add new, and in add new we have connected remote Docker, and then we have made the changes over here, right? We change the expose the Docker daemon on this. There are several ways to expose this. You could also run a proxy. Okay, there are so many other ways as well. So go ahead and because this is not about the Docker, this is about the Jenkins. So that's why uh, I'm only explaining you this. But yeah, if you want to use something different, there are several ways to expose Docker daemon as well. Okay, so this is a way. And after that we have test this connection. Okay, we didn't get any error, it's fine, it's working. After that we have, so this Jenkins agent was from the previous one, right? So we did not make any of the changes in it, it is as is. Then we have set up a Docker agent template Maven, and I'm given a name is as well. And for Docker image Maven, okay, I did not have to create this because it has already Jenkins installing, Java installing. So that's why it was able to connect with the Jenkins controller. Okay, then capacity one to whatever number of container you want to allow, put over here. And let's see, only build job with the label matching expression. Then pull image every time, instead of it should be like pull once and update latest. And same for the Docker, but in case we have created our own Docker image node, capacity 1, use this much, no, I don't want to do that. Attach this one, no, no. And here never pull, so Jenkins will use the local Docker image. And similarly we did for the Python as well. Okay, only build with this one, okay, and never pull, right? So we have met this many things over here. And let's copy this configuration and put it once again. So I put it over here. So now our pipeline is tested. So this code I will put in, yeah, GitHub repository. So let's run it and see what happens. So I like to view like this view is better. All things should be work out. Now it's building and Python, everything is done. So our pipeline is working fine. There is no problem at all. Okay, now, so we have so far learned how we can create, I mean, dynamic agents, right? Now let's see if we have any Docker PS, and you could see the containers were spin up, and after performing their job, the dynamic agents were destroyed. Okay, so let me quickly show you what we have done over here. So it's a pipeline, right? Here we put the agent, Jenkins agent, and this is the stage. Okay, and then Maven build again the agent, and inside this stage we are performing these are the steps, right? So you know, if we can execute Maven and command, it means we can perform the Maven things as well. Similarly for the node and for the Python as well, right? So it's very simple multi-stage pipeline, and we already talked it very detail in our day 5, right? CI/CD pipeline. I mean 3.5 hours only to learn the syntax. So no biggie over here. Now next what we will do. Okay, so let's do one thing. This is the one of the way. I mean it's another way where we saw how we can use or how we can run the multi agent, okay, multi-stage pipeline. This time let's do two projects. So here we will do two projects. First project where we will be doing all the Maven stages. Okay, so building, testing, packaging, and all these things. Then we will deploy. I mean, we'll build a Docker image and then we will deploy it. Okay, so for that, let's create one pipeline. Okay, let me put it like this. ls create the name like 9. All right, so this one final one. And for that, in the project, let me copy and paste, remove this one, okay, and paste. Or we can also new, okay, new text file, paste it over here. Okay, it's automatically changed. So let's first understand what is this. Okay, so here what exactly we are going to do. We know this pipeline agent is none, so we are not defining any of the agent. Okay, here are some of the environment variable I have shared, declared. So share directory that we need. I'll also tell you why do we need it. Okay, but this is the image tag, so we want to create an image, and env.build underscore id. So this is the inbuilt variable. Okay, so we are using environment variable of the Jenkins. So this will gives like this. So this will be the name of the image, and this will be the tag for that. So that will be a unique, and we will create one container name like this. Okay, and for this we are using maven, and again label is maven. You could also keep like this, or if you want you can also keep like this, however you prefer. So as pipeline grows, you have a lot of files, right? I mean, not of a lot of codes in the pipeline. So that's it's okay. Then inside this trap, we have a script shared, this one. Okay, and after that, what we are doing here in this, we are creating one directory. Then we are cloning the code into this. Okay, and this is the um, GitHub repository where the code is. So let me show you something. Instead of that, we'll be using this one. Yeah, okay, let's copy this. All right, no worries. So we will use this one, and change the name of this. Yeah, we can also set a variable, okay, which uses these like GitHub repository URL. Okay, then we are entering into this one, this directory, and when clean package, right, is the same. Then we are copying the created WAR file in this directory. Then we will list it, and here, okay, let me show you one thing about here. I have just disabled this. Okay, I will explain why we are using this one. Then after that we have a Docker build, and for that we need a Docker agent. Okay, so at the moment we do not have any Docker agent, right? So here, in order to build a Docker images, what you need to do, you need a Docker CLI. Okay, so we are creating this. So we will also create this Docker agent shortly. And here what we are doing in runtime, we are just creating a Docker file. Okay, that can be done like you can create a Docker file like from Tomcat, copy this one, and then you can build it simply. Okay, so for I'll put a dedicated Jenkins file for this, sorry, Docker file for this, but just as for the runtime, I'm using like this. Okay, and then we are building a Docker image, then Docker image like this, and it says run container or remote host. So it's basically a deployment stage. So redeploying the container, if existing is there, it removes, and it is gonna run on 9191. Okay, because 8080 is already occupied by the Jenkins. All right. So what we have to do, we have to create one Docker file. Let's do it quickly. Docker file mode and the Docker file, this Docker file for Python. Okay, so copy it over here. Mhm. So this is the from the Docker CLI. Okay, and in this I'm just installing a Java version. You could also use agent image if you want to, and inside that you can install or run the Docker CLI. Okay, either way is fine. Let's try with this one. So that we already saw. Okay, and this time I would say build, instead of this I would say my Docker CLI. All right, let's build it and take it a name. Meanwhile, while the this is good getting created, okay, it's already done. Come over here, and inside the configuration we add one more agent template, and not this one, add template. So label, we will see first we have to put the image name, and here what I've used Docker agent. So label is copy, main copy, and instance capacity 1, and not this much, label expression matching, and we wanted to use the local image available. All right, so now we have fixed it, and let's create it. Okay, we could give it a name, something like that, new. Okay, project 1 and pipeline. Okay, then here we go, paste this over here. Let's apply, save, and build. Okay, it's working. Packaging, all right, but it says it failed. Okay, so where it has failed, let's go over here, Docker build state. So Maven is perfectly fine, it worked as it's expected, right? And at the end, come at the end here, okay, we ask to cp target this ls dash lrt work project 1. Okay, run Docker runtime, and here we have this one, right? DSOC3 back. But in case, and why it is so, so we have defined, right, in Maven build test, and then copy in target DSOC3, all these things, right? We already talked about this, so we are not going to, I'm not going to go again much deeper into. So this simple Maven clean package, and we are putting the WAR file over here, and ls-lrt, and shared dir, and shared dir is this, okay, here, and that's why it is showing over here. But in case of Docker, what happened? Okay, we did not find anything. So let's check the classic console. Okay. Hmm. So okay, workspace project 1, run container remote host. Okay, this was skipped, and so I guess, okay, so container is also not here, so we cannot check. Uh, okay, let's go ahead and see the status. All right, once again, let's do quickly replay it, and so we can check what is happening. So here the thing is, I have done something like this. So there are two statements. Let me do this as well. Yeah, these are two important things. I will explain, but before that, I want to run something and show you something. I believe it is not gonna throw us an error again, and we can see what we want to see. Okay, all right. So here we got again a error like this one. I hope if we okay, we have the logs, right? So here you could see run command like this and connection terminated, but it did connect it successfully. Okay, and what's wrong? So here the wrong thing. Let's go back over here. So if you see this this command got executed, okay, and it was trying to build something over here, but it could, okay. So is docker daemon running means it is not able to execute or connect with the docker. So we know it's a classic error, right? Unix run war socket. So what you have to do in order to check the docker or execute the docker commands, okay, because until and unless it is not able to connect with the um, docker daemon, it is not able to perform any of the tasks. Okay, so since here it has done, but while it has started to build, it didn't find anything, right? So what we have to do, we have to enable the docker socket. And you might be thinking, okay, we already did this over here, but why it is not able to connect, right? So let's fix this. So in order to fix this error, what we have to do, we have to go to the Jenkins and system environment variable, click like this, and we have to add an environment variable over here, and that is docker underscore host. And what we have to provide, the IP address TCP colon, you could see the same one, 172.17.0.1. Okay, 172, sorry, it's not 127, 172.17.0, and the port is 2375. Apply, and then let's come back over here and rerun. Let's see. And now it has started building, but you could see here, let me go to the pipeline view. Okay, this one echo from this Tomcat. Let's see, echo, it's a Docker build, and it started with build instance using Docker driver, and it is started to create this. It has also, so on this stage it got error and it is not able to find war file. So in this stage, what happened, if you see here, we are doing this, and what we have done, we have created one environment variable, okay, this at this location. So why I did this, because in when you have, so if you see over here agent none, right, when you are using multiple agent, so each and every, right, so for like one agent for the maven, one agent for the docker agent, I mean the container. So in that case, what happened, each and every container use This is a different or separate, I would say, the workspace. Okay, what workspace it means, if you see over here, you could see like here, workspace project one, Docker runtime, Docker file echo, or something like this. And in this case, workspace project one, Docker runtime, right? And so you could see, okay, workspace maybe if we see high level, it seems like same. So for example, let's go for the full log. So it says running this in this one. Okay, so this is the workspace. If I copy and paste it, so you could see here we are creating a one Docker runtime. Okay, this is the directory, and then we are cloning inside this. Okay, but if we go on to the next stage, okay, after this, let me go maybe other direction. All right, here. So still we are able to see the same workspace project one, but these all these containers, okay, they do not share a common location, okay, a common folder. That's why it is not able to find while it is trying to copy. Okay, so it is not able to copy this DSOC3 war in this. So for that, that's why this is the solution I found, is trash include. So in this directory, whatever we are doing, okay, so whatever make change, the changes we have made, okay, in Docker runtime, so we have just stashed those in like this, and you have to give a name, okay, runtime data, okay, and after that here we have unstashed, and here we are using this information, okay, and that's why now we would be able to see it more. So let's rerun this again with the existing one. So that was the motto, to show you, to explain you all the different containers, right? Yes. So this Maven, and we will also, I think, see in some. Yeah, so it's built, and now Docker. So I think we will be able to see Docker CLI. Okay, so that Maven container already gone, and this one is over here. So you could see 1 second ago it has created the Docker image, and after that it is trying to deploy it in next stage, and it has deployed. Grab this one, and this is the number 5 is the our build number, okay, and it can be accessible on 9191. So we will do that, but the whole point of this exercise is to show you, whenever you have you're using different Docker agents, so in that case always remember they are not going to share all the files, and you need artifacts from one system, I mean one stage to another. So this is the way you could use. You could create one shared directory like this, and here I have created this one, and after that, yeah, I explain this file, okay, and then we trash this one, and we given a name and runtime data, and that's the same we have unstashed over here, and yeah, that's what we are doing. All right, so let's see Docker PS. So all the container agent has gone, only our web app is there, and this one is the port 9191. So let's access this. Let me copy this. So as I said, this is the IP address, right? So for me, it's already mentioned jenkins.dsoc3.local. In your case, you have to put the IP address and the port number. Of course, we have to provide the soc3-web app. All right, so this is done. Click me. Okay, welcome to the DevSecOps Club. So our application is successfully deployed, and now we want to create a new one, right? So what I'm gonna do, I will replay this. So I'll share this file with you definitely. So let me copy it over here. Let's wait. Meanwhile, let me copy this in 9 and 9 Jenkins file, and this would be 10, and it has a project 1, or web app, however you would like to say, okay, with the multi-stretch, and our build number is 6, and it says over here, okay, so web app 6, and of course container name is the same. And if we come over here, right, yes, so you could see before it was using image DSOC3 web app 5, now it's a 6. Okay, this is one way where you want to perform the artifacts, right, and create after building several, I mean, output from the several different stages. So you could use this, but there is another way or another use case where, you have to, I mean, you want to create the Docker file you're on as well. Okay, so in that, so do one thing for that. Let me copy the Jenkins file. Okay, so here what I'm gonna do, we are using the label is the same. Okay, the SOC3 image tag which we are going to use, container name would be the same, host port is 9191, container port is 8080, and we are cloning some Docker files. So instead of building, okay, or doing, so maybe you have a use case where you want to use a Docker file from, maybe if you're a DevOps, you are maintaining this, so you can access using, I mean, in that case, you have to access some of the code from one repository. And for building an application, you need to pull the code from one of the repository, right? So here on this repository, okay, let me show you what is over here. This is the Docker. Okay, and here inside we have a Docker files. So this many demo, different kind of Docker files, what we can use, and all these things we have done, right, in day 6 part, I think 4 and 5. So here we have a project file, and in this we want to create our own custom Docker image. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna use this one. Okay, if you are interested, go ahead and you can refer. So I'm cloning this repository over here, the soc3 docker.git, then building Docker image on remote host, then in this folder, right, docker files project. Let me show you again. Docker, this is the name of the repository, Docker files and Docker projects. Okay, and inside that I have a Docker file, which one I'm using, so Docker file multi-stage 2, right? So you could use any, okay, I'm just using multi-stage 2 where I'm building, okay, multi-stage build from the Docker. So using this one as a builder, so multi-stage pipeline, and we are doing multi-stage build for the Docker images. Okay, so let's quickly see this. So, and after that, what we are doing, so what happened actually over here, let me show you something. Let me show you. So you could see here I'm directly cloning the repository, and inside that I'm building and doing all this instead of uh, building a pipeline in another way. Okay, you might be have some use cases where you want to do this. So there are different uh, Docker files are over here, you can run for each and every project. Okay, let me rerun this, run, and you could do for all of this. Okay, multi-stage 1 2 3, project 1 2 3, all this. Just you have to try. All right, so it is building the Docker image. Okay, it's removing, then it's clone, then it's a Maven stage, and less than a second ago, this web app 7. Okay, Docker, yes, web app 7, and 11 second ago. Of course, app is the same, but in I just wanted to show you how you could use the same. I mean, how you could deploy. Okay, if you do not have a I mean, we know in Docker there is a conflict if the container, if the port is already there, right? So it would be conflict. So that's how we do it. And if we come back over here, if I go on pipeline, right? So here we clone the Docker file from the repository, right? Then Docker image on the remote host. So we started building, and after building, it has done all this Maven related things. And once it is done, then it created a Docker image out of it. Okay, let's go see. Yeah, here. So once it is done, then it is copy from builder, so war file into in this web apps, right? And it says naming Docker file dsoc3 web app 7 done. And here is the run container or deployment stage. So we simply deploying it, right? Okay, so that's it on this part. We have done project 1 2. Okay, let me summarize it. We have checked the environment test, multi-stage build, and we have done these 2 projects as well. Okay, feel free to use this one, okay, other Docker files to in order to create the custom Docker images and the build. And yeah, so from my perspective, these are the 2 most important use cases you could come across where you have to use the custom Docker images using the Docker file itself. For that, you can write Jenkins file like this, the pipeline code, and you can use it. So let me quickly summarize. So for what we have done, so first we migrated our Jenkins, which was running on the VM in a Docker container. Then we have set up the here the clouds, right? And we with the remote copy, I mean not remote copy, remote Docker, we set up these Docker host URI. We have set up this many Docker templates, Jenkins agent, right? Then we also gone through with the Maven. After that, we have also set up agent for the node, then Python, and at the end we use the Docker CLI. Okay, Docker CLI agent is important in order to execute a Docker command. And then we set up a environment variable host path, right, and by which it is able to run the Docker commands itself. So here the one of the most complex part is to configure this agent. Okay, because if you are not able to, or your Jenkins is not able to communicate with the uh, Docker daemon, and most of the people, I also felt initially it's overwhelming. And if you want, so go to your favorite AI type. Okay, I want step by step for Docker dynamic agent configuration for the Jenkins like this, and follow that step, and then realize you will not able to do that. I'm not saying, but yeah, it's a complicated until and unless you don't understand the concept. So very simple concept when you are running Jenkins inside the Docker container. So, and when you are spinning up dynamic agents, so this is, so Docker sockets are really, really important. As I said, there are several ways as well. And I would like to tell you one more way over here. Mm, yeah, so you could use this over here. Okay, this instruction. for that. And so you could use the Docker sockets. Okay, like let's go and see. Okay, documentation, install Jenkins and Kubernetes. Okay, and if you go over here, right, so on official documentation also, it's you may find the instruction like this. Okay, this is another way where you are mounting the certificates into the Docker itself. So try it. It is also very good to do. Okay, and if you have any questions regarding this, feel free to contact. I'll try to answer. Okay, or however you want. Okay. So that's it on this part. One more thing, as I said before, to add, right? I mean, another scenario where your Jenkins is inside the container, right? And you want to add a node, right? Additional. So you could go over here, manage Jenkins, right? Inside that, the nodes, and click over here, let's say test, or maybe Linux, or just agent, I would say. Simple. Okay, so this process I already explained in day 4, part 3, 2 and 3, completely based on this. Okay, so here there is no point again to do. It's the same procedure, there is no different. So remote root directory you have to provide the labels, right? So let's say home and Jenkins, that label is also agent, for example. If it is a Linux, so maybe Linux agent, right? They use this much, or only build with the label expression, right? Launch. So there are different way to launch the agent. So connecting it to the controller, I explained this, the one of the best way is to go with the launching with SSH. Okay, SSH, or launch agent via SSH. Okay, keep this agent as much as online possible, or however you would like. Okay, then okay, save agent, and here these are the commands. Okay, so what I could do is simply copy this, and if we come over here, so it says now it's not online. So here I could simply click something like this and unable to access Java. Okay, so what's wrong? Instead of that, here what I need to do, I have to use localhost. Okay, because but still unable to access agent.zap. Okay, let me go back over here. Okay, so first we have to copy this over here, and instead of this we could say localhost. Do we have, okay, agent.jar, and now says okay, java agent.jar. Copy this. So in your case you are using on localhost, so it's simply you could provide the local host, you don't need to provide everything again. And it says 8080 URL, so let's go like this, and then secret is this one, and right, let's see. All right, so we got something. Okay, URL and agent like this. Local host is not valid. Okay, now let's go ahead, URL HTTP. All right, but still we got some exception. Okay, so let me create one home directory, or let's just say mkdir. Maybe I'll create it in a home directory, and the all right. So let's use this one. Okay, I have to move Jenkins Docker agent.jar over here. All right, clear the screen and run it. All right, so info connected, and if we come back over here, the nodes, and now our agent is online. Okay, there are several ways you can connect it and use it. Okay, but I believe, but again, it's a one of the use case, and we already explained or spent I think 3-4 hours or maybe more to just set up the content, what's the significance of this. So I believe that when you are running your Jenkins in containers, so it makes more sense to have a dynamic agent rather the static agents. Okay, but there are several use cases where you need to sometime configure. So I'm now deleting it. Okay, and what we see. Okay, so it's second before try. It is not able to connect because we already terminated it. Right. So these are the ways by which uh, you can use Jenkins as a Docker container. So from my side, I try to cover all the possible use cases. Okay, if you think I missed something and you want to suggest any of the topic, or you want me to make any other cover any further use case, so feel free to suggest, provide your feedback on this, what you think, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up. And in next, we will see how we can install Jenkins and spin up the pods inside the Kubernetes cluster. So that would be our next topic. Then see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye. Keep practicing, and I'll upload these files, okay, in Docker repository over here. So feel free to use that in a Jenkins. Okay. All right, guys. So see you next time in the next one. Until then, bye bye.